Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got such a great project for you today. Let's take a look at this quilt behind me. Isn't this beautiful? I mean, I just love this line of fabric. It's very bright and happy, and this is a half hexi quilt project. So I can hardly wait to show you how to make this. So to make this quilt, what you're going to need is one packet of 10-inch squares, and we are using Victoria Finley Wolf's fabric called Mosley Manor for Marcus. And it is, I just love this line. It's very happy, very eclectic. It's got older prints, newer prints, just a lot of fun things happening in this fabric. So you're going to need one packet of 10-inch squares. You're going to need 1.5 yards of this black for our sashings. You're going to need 1.5 yards for our outer border out here. This is a 5.5-inch border. And you're good to go. You're going to get a quilt that's 50 by 63, so it's a great size. So let me show you how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to take your half hexi template and you're going to cut hexagons out of all your 10-inch squares. Now, what I like to do, let me show you how I do this. There's more than one ways to do this, but I like to take my square and fold it in half, and I'm going to line up my hexagon on the edge of my square, just like that. Then I'm going to cut my corners off, just like this, and turn it. This is a great time for a nice rotating mat. And I'm going to cut up here, right this, and cut across the top. All right, so now you have two hexagons right here. And what we need to do now is border the bottoms of them. So we're going to take our 1.25 yards and cut that into 1.5-inch strips. And we're going to lay these on our strips like this. And we are going to sew them down just like this, 1/4 inch. But we have to put them apart, give it about 1.5 inches or 2 inches apart, because when we fold this over, we're going to trim this out because we're going to make a piece that looks like this. See how that is bordered on the bottom of that half hexi? All right, so let's go to the sewing machine and sew a couple of these down. Again, I'm just going to lay my hexi on here. I'm staggering it a little bit from the end so that I have room to cut that angle when I open it up. I'm going to set my presser foot on there. Just sew it down. 1/4 inch. From the edge, just like this. I'm going to stop when I get to the end, and I'm going to lay my next one, and I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches or 2 inches in there, and sew again. So it's the same kind of chain piecing. You just want to, slide along there. You just got to leave that little space in between. You're going to do this to all your half hexagons. And I'm going to just do it to a couple, and now we're going to press them open. So I'm over here at the ironing board, and I'm just going to roll those back just like that. Do it to both of them. And I like to press from the top to make sure there just aren't any pleats or folds in here. So we just open that up. All right, so now we need to trim these. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the edge of our little half hexi right here as the guide. So this edge right here becomes our guide. We lay our ruler along there. That gives us the right angle. And we're just going to cut that off like that. And we're going to do that on both sides. So here's this one. Now, if you've ever seen us put together the hexi braid, it's just so quick and easy, and we have several tutorials talking about this braid. But what we're going to do is we are going to put 6 of these braids together and then cut it into a block. So that's going to be fun to show you how to do. All right. So I got a little stack of these all done right here, and I'm going to show you how to put them together. So when you start this, the hardest part about starting the braid is the start. When you start this, you're going to attach a side piece to a bottom piece, just like this. You're going to attach those, and you're just going to match up this bottom line right here. Take it to your sewing machine, and just sew that 1/4 inch right along that edge. So let's do that. All right. Now that you've done your side to the bottom, it actually works out very easily, because then this part right here, you just add your next piece right onto here like this. See how that goes? And then you add another piece on here, and you add your other piece on here, and you're going to do that until you have 6 of those added on. You can't really make a mistake because you can't add one over here. It just always goes on this side. So this is your key right here, the side to the bottom piece. That's the starting point, and then the rest of it you make the braid. So you're going to sew 6 of those together, and it's going to look like this right here. You're going to stop at 6. Actually, this is the front. That's better for you. You're going to stop at 6, and now we're going to square up our blocks. And so what we like to do is I want to lay this kind of on a line up here, and this one on a line here. You want to cut from this part first. So right here, where this is, where this comes together, that's the side you want to start your cut on. And we're just going to cut a straight edge on that. And so you kind of want to make sure this is on a straight line and this is on a straight line, and then we're just going to cut this right up here. I'm going to scoot it just a hair over, and we're going to cut that straight across right here. All right, then you're just going to discard that, and then we're going to come flip, well, however you need to do it, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to cut our block 12.5. So here we are at the 12.5. Now I want to talk about this a little bit because we're squaring this block up. So this block is now a little wider than it is long, and so we need to square it up. So if these are off a little bit out here, don't worry about that a bit, because we can just square it up. So again, we're making this block 12.5. So we're going to come over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.5. We're going to put our ruler right there, and we're just going to take off that little bit on the edge. And there's our block right there. Now all the blocks are going to be a little bit different, but I want to mention one thing really quick. If you take a wider seam than 1/4 inch, your block is going to be shorter than 12.5. So, and if you take a narrower seam, it's going to be longer. So I would use as much width on this as you can. So if your block ends up being 13, square it to 13. You've got some play here. You can have a little bit bigger block. If your seams are bigger, square it to 12. Whatever works for you. We're going with 12.5 because that's how my seams came out. So you be sure and, check and see how much you can get on yours when you trim it up. All right, so now the fun part. Here's the fun part. So you have to lay these blocks out. This is one of those quilts where you want to lay it out on your design wall or your design floor, and you want them going different directions. So I have some blocks over here already made, and I have a sashing in between. Now you can see if you turn them different directions to get that different, that twisty turny look. And we're taking a 1.5 inch strip and sashing it in between our blocks. And like this. And you're going to have 3 across, just like this, and 4 down. And then when you get your row done and it's sashed, you're going to put a long row of sashing in between, just like this. And again, you're just laying it on the side of your block, sewing a 1/4 inch down it. And so then when you go to add your next row, again, you're going to have a row that you've already put your sashing on. And you'll have 3 blocks and they're already sashed. Just make sure they're turned how you want them to be, that they're mixed up, that they're going in different directions, and just there's a lot of movement in this quilt. You're going to really enjoy that. So the last thing you're going to do is you're going to add a little 1.5 inch sashing all the way around to frame up your quilt. Then you're going to add your large border on the outside, and it's just going to make this perfect little quilt. It's just a great size. Again, I think I said it earlier, it's 50 by 63, so it's a great size quilt. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Sashed Half Hexi from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. This tutorial on the Sashed Hatch.
Say the end one more time.
Okay.